Hey YouTube, Casey Classic 7 here, back again with another video. This is going to be part 2, discussing my negatives of the 2K League Combine. Again, I don't want to be too critical, obviously, since this is their first year of doing the Combine, but in the same regard, I definitely do have to be a critic of the Combine, and I'm also going to have my improvements, things that I think that they can improve on, because it's one thing to highlight negatives, which is all good, and that's all good and fine, but if you are just highlighting the negatives but not having a solution to these negatives, you're not really being a part of the solution. You're just as much as a part of the problem as anyone else. So I just don't want to give and I'm not going to give unfair critiques of this process as well. I know that this is the first year. I'm aware of that, and again, I'm not going to be overly critical of the league combine in its first year. Little tongue twisted there. Sorry about that. So my first negative, the player qualifications. 50 games, I get it, a lot of games in 1 month, but there has to be something more to get that 7200 down. It's way too many people. You know what? I won't say it's way too many people. That I disagree with, but I will say the players who you play with, all 72,000 of those players, they're not trying to qualify for the league. So for it to be more pure, in my opinion, you have to limit that number. Like, I get it, you want to get a bunch of people playing in the combine, which I think that it will become more pure as the weeks dwindle down. I think we had a bunch of people play this in this first week just because of the hype of the league, but once people start to realize that this is something that they're really not trying to do and they're really not about, you're gonna probably have more pure games getting closer to the end of the month, just in my opinion. I could be wrong. We could have players who are just playing in the league combine all month who aren't trying to make the league, but I just don't see that really happening. So that's number one. Definitely want to see the player qualifications go down. It's just you know, I don't want to get too worked up and be too critical, so we'll just leave it at that. Different gameplay. This is another thing that I thought was a problem as well. You had people really get used to the gameplay in regular Pro-Am and walk-on Pro-Am, that when it gets to the 2K League time, the gameplay is completely different. I'm not a fan of that. I don't have a problem with the game plays. I think I actually like the way that the game plays in 2K League Combine, but we kind of need a way to adjust to the way that the game plays. I wasn't like, I just didn't understand that. You have people who want the game to play like a simulation, and who want the game to play that realistic style of basketball, even if it's not the way that the game plays when we're talking about in regular Pro-Am. There has to be a mode in the game that is gonna prep you for the 2K League Combine, which that might be something that they can add in next year, but that's just something that I would personally like to see. So there should be a game mode specifically in the game that is going to mimic what we see for the 2K League. So maybe for next year they have players who want to specifically go after the Pro-Am tournament, and as well you can have players who specifically want to go after the 2K League. Allow that to be something that we can do next year if they're still trying to do the whole Pro-Am tournament, which I don't see why they wouldn't. I thought that was a huge success as well. The wait times. I know not everybody had this problem, but being at the point guard, there would be times where I would be waiting 5 to 10 minutes to get a game. I'm not sure if there are, just that many players at that position, and we're waiting for players at other positions. Mostly, I was waiting for I was waiting for shooting guards and power forwards. Those were the two positions that had that always popped up for the players that we're searching for. So I don't know if there's a way that they could limit the wait times, but that's something I definitely would like to see addressed, is the wait times. Or maybe have an estimated wait time, just something with the wait times if possible. That was something that I wanted to throw in the negatives. Another thing that I would like to see added in for those players who there has to be more of a consequence for those who quit the combine games. I literally had someone quit every game, including this game here, in my combine games that I played yesterday, on the 4th. And I just think that's crazy. I think that it's an unfair process that and it's a process that's not pure, in my opinion, when you have these players who are quitting games. Like I know plays that usually would be made aren't being made because there's AIs on the floor, like certain passes and just them closing out, just certain stuff that a player is not able to do that the AI is able to do. Definitely would like to see that improved upon, to limit these guys quitting games, and that's just gonna come with tightening up the player qualification process. So once that player qualification process happens, and there's an actual consequence for people who quit games, we're definitely gonna see a better and cleaner combine. Another thing, I know that in the last video I talked about customization being the lack of customization being a positive. In this instance, it's a negative. So when we do have these AI teammates, I'm not able to adjust the way that I want them to play. So if I have an AI player on my team, I should be able to tailor the way that I want that player to play against whoever he's guarding. That's something that I can do in regular pro-am, and in this process I feel, and in this instance I feel like that's something I should be able to do. I know and I think that they can, if there was a way for them to do that, to where you could have your AIs play a specific way but not be able to switch user players. That's something that definitely can be done, in my opinion. And the last thing I wanted to discuss in this, the mics. There has to be something to where players have to play with the mic. It's just a very frustrating process playing with players without mics. You're having players do things that are hazardous to the team. You're having players get on the mic late in the game complaining. There just has to be something to where if you want to play in the league, you have to play with a mic. It's something that you have to do. You're going to have to communicate with your teammates. You're going to have to be professional when playing in this league combine. You're being paid. It's a job. It's not just a video game and you can just do whatever you want to do. It's a job. You're being paid for it. Act like a professional. That's just my thoughts on it, and that's something that's tangible. Mics have to be a must. They have to be, because it's very and it's crazy because you can have 4 players with the mic, and that one player that does not have that mic could really be a hindrance to the team. I know there's a lot of players who play with their friends in the party chat and they talk to their friends in there. I know there's a lot of players who play with headphones on and music in their ears. Understand that. That's all fine and dandy. But leave that for the walk on and the team pro-am if your team allows you to play like that. But when it comes to the league, everybody has to have a mic. They have to. I don't see how a player can be drafted or be in consideration of being drafted when they choose to not play with a mic. It just doesn't make sense. And that's something that I feel like it has to be a must. Having a mic has to be a must when we're talking about the league process. So overall, like I said, I really do like what 2K is doing with the 2K League. It's definitely a good start. Definitely have a bunch of room to improve upon, but right now I really have no huge issues outside of the ones that I named in terms of the 2K League. Just limiting the pool, I think, is going to be the number one thing that they have to do. If they could limit that pool to players, to every player who's in the combine actually wanting to make the league combine, then you'll really have a competitive combine, and you'll really have this process be a lot more competitive than what it is. Just my opinion on it. So let me know what you guys think about my negatives. As you already know, for those who watch the positives, and my overall thoughts of my overall results of the of how I did week one. Let me know what you guys think. All feedback is appreciated. Positive feedback, negative feedback. Have no issues with that at all. So again, let me know what you guys think. KC Classic 7 signing out.